Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all well and I hope your week is going well so far. I know it's only Monday, but hopefully it's off to a good start. So today's video is on quite an important topic for the ladies. So I just wanted to share my story in regards to the topic and also just to give some advice. So today it's just talking about the routine cervical screening for women and why it's really important. So as you all know, we all get our letters every sort of 3 years to have our checkups, and it's routine for everyone. And I feel quite strongly about women taking up this opportunity and really making sure that they're putting their health first. So as a midwife, it's part of our responsibility when we're booking women and seeing them antenatally that we are checking, if they're going for their screening and, encouraging them to go for this screening. You're not allowed to have it done when you are pregnant, but if women are behind on it, we always encourage them to have it done once they've had their baby. So, it is something that we take very seriously and everyone should take seriously. So basically a bit of background on why I've done this video is that I went for my routine screening last year, start of last year I believe it was, and I'd only had one smear test before that, which was absolutely fine. So they'd sent a letter for my 3-year checkup, which fell last year, the start of last year. So I went along to it and had the screening and thought nothing of it at all. I then got the results through, which showed that I had some abnormal cells, which they basically wanted to investigate further. So I was then referred for an appointment at the hospital, and basically you go along and one of the doctors does a more thorough exam. So it's basically the same thing as a smear, but they do a biopsy of the abnormal cells, so that they can send the cells off. Like they basically cut away some of the cell and send it off for a biopsy to test if it's cancerous or not. So I went and had that done, and I would say the smear test absolutely fine, not really bad at all, and it only lasts a few seconds. When I went for the check of the abnormal cells and the biopsy, that was quite uncomfortable the first time, and it took a bit longer because obviously they have to have a proper look at where the cells are and, actually get the biopsies. So it takes a bit longer and it is slightly uncomfortable, but it was worth it, to see how things were going. So following that test, they said to me that I could come back in a year, just to check the cells again to see how things were going, if they was healing or if they were growing, etc. So I went back then this year, start of this year, and they saw that the cells pretty much were the same. So again, they did a biopsy to check that the cells weren't cancerous or hadn't developed, and then I awaited that result. So I then got a letter saying that they wanted me to go back in 6 months. So that is the check that I had last week. And basically, the reason they'd asked me to go back 6 months rather than a year was because they'd seen slight changes in cells from the previous time. So I went last week and had the same thing done again, so examination, they do a smear at the same time and then they do biopsy of some cells. So I'm awaiting those results still at the moment to see what the sort of plan of action is, but the doctor basically said that it's looking likely that I'll probably have to have some form of treatment, which is usually where they laser off the abnormal cells. So I've heard of this treatment before with ladies that I've looked after that have had, abnormal smears and had to have this treatment. So I know it's not, completely uncommon and it's not sort of a rare sort of occurrence. So the doctor sort of tried to reassure me and said, you know, look, the main thing is obviously we've picked up these cells early, and you know we can you know, we have time to sort out treatment and things before they get worse. Because basically this time round he said that what he saw was the cells looked much more formed, and obviously they weren't going away or getting better. So because we've been looking at them for a little while now, and you know things haven't really changed, and they've got slightly worse, he said, you know, the likely course is that we would treat them with the laser treatment. So my thought on that was obviously sort of the future and when I'm planning to have children and things, if it will affect me. And he basically says that it depends on how much they have to laser away. So the cervix basically is very important in pregnancy because it kind of has to stay in place for you to maintain a pregnancy. So if your cervix is shortened for any reason, then you're more at risk of miscarriages, preterm labour, you know, all those kinds of things. So some women unfortunately have the case where their cervix is shortened, so they have to have sort of what we call a cervical stitch. So early in pregnancy they have a stitch put in their cervix to try and keep it together, and trying to prevent it from opening too early. And then they have it out like near the end of the pregnancy. So I know that that's one kind of route that some women have had to go down. But what he said to me was it basically just depends how deep they have to laser. So he said, you know, if it's up to 1 centimetre that they have to laser of the cells, then that shouldn't sort of increase my risk of preterm labour or miscarriage or anything in the future. But obviously if they have to go deeper to get rid of the cells, then there can be more risk there. So it is a little bit worrying, but at the same time, you know, it is good that I went for my screening and, you know, this has all been picked up and we're acting on it and things are being done, because I couldn't imagine not going for the screening and then not knowing about these abnormal cells and it just progressing and progressing, you know, to the point where it could potentially be life-threatening. So I really like to you know, push the point that every woman should be going for their screening, and it is so important to keep on top of your health, you know, because as we've seen with cases like Jade Goody, you know, it was too little too late, and you know, unfortunately she lost her life because of cervical cancer. So it's brought so much attention to it, and you know, I think there was a big rise in the amount of women going for their smear tests, you know, following her death. But then I've heard that recently, you know, there's been a big drop again in attendance for smears. So all I would say, ladies, is please go for your smears, because it is so important, and you know, it takes a few seconds to do it and it could potentially save your life. So, you know, it's me on my soapbox, I'm afraid, and you know, really sort of sharing my experience to try and encourage people to go. If you have any questions about anything, then just drop a message below and I'll reply back to you. But yeah, I basically just wanted to share my story today and where I'm at and what is happening with me, to try and encourage people to go for their screening and show the importance of it, really. So yeah, feel free to you know, drop any comments below about anything that I've said that you're not sure of, or any questions you might have. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And I know I'm just posting like completely serious videos all the time, but I'm going to try and sort of post a few more sort of fun videos and vlogs and things like that as you know, time goes on. But I've just been really super busy lately, so I'm hoping now that the festive period's starting that, you know, I'll have lots of nice things to sort of vlog about and things like that. So but yeah, enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more of me. So as I said, have a good evening, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.